Welcome to the FemiNinja Project. I am your host, Cheryl I Love, middle-aged ninja hiding in plain sight, dedicated to restoring human dignity one person at a time and helping you unleash your personal power. Discover that it's possible to look like a woman, act like a lady, move like a ninja, and think like a warrior. And remember, men are always welcome on the FemiNinja Project. Hello and welcome to another episode of the FemiNinja Project. And you know by now that I am all about natural healing and finding and exploring options in holistic health practices. Today's guest has spent years of holistic studying, learning, experimenting, and testing to create a natural product line which helps nourish the body with essential vitamins and nutrients. His name is Alberto Bercich, and he is the founder and owner of B&B Botanicals. Alberto, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me, Cheryl. It's an honor and a pleasure to be here today.
Well, thank you so much. I've been looking forward to this for so long. And I have to, tell our listeners, I did meet you a little over a year ago, and it was at a farmer's market up in the mountains of Colorado, and you had a booth there, and you had your products, and I am the world-class skeptic, and I was very skeptical of the products. It's like, yeah, okay, tell me your story and everything. And you had me hooked, and you really knew your stuff, and we did try your products, and I absolutely love them. So tell us a little bit about your products, tell us about yourself, and how you got started on this journey.
Okay, so, my journey goes way, way back to before I was even, in the cannabis industry, before I was using cannabis products. It was really starts with in around 2007, my father passed away. So I was 11 years old at the time. And it really, crushed me like emotionally and physically. And it took me a long time to get back to like being me again. And had a lot of anxiety and depression that I didn't know how to address because I was so young. And it took me studying psychology in college to figure out, oh yeah, I am a little messed up. I definitely have some depression, anxiety. How can I, go about this? How can I get back to my normal, way of being? So I started to realize that I was feeling a little bit better about myself. I was starting to have less social anxieties. I was starting to, come back to who I really am as a person. I'm a super happy-go-lucky, super, motivated, driven person. And it was starting to really help me be that again. So I knew then that me and this plant have a relationship that is gonna, blossom into something, but I had no idea, what it was at the time. So fast forward till when I moved to Colorado around 2014. I moved there. I started taking some classes at, Colorado Mountain College up in the mountains there. I was in Dillon and Breckenridge. And I started to learn more and more about cannabis. And I was in an English class, and my teacher wanted me to write a research paper. And I had never written anything about cannabis before prior to this. So, and I was like, I want to take a risk. I really want to write about this stuff. I started researching and writing this paper in like 2015, and it really led me to figure out why cannabis works the way it does with our body and what it does. And I found a lot about cannabis in general, but it really taught me about the endocannabinoid system. So I followed a lot of these doctors and researchers, the foremost researching cannabis to this day. Since the 60s, they've been researching cannabis at a school level, at a research scientific level. So I started following this stuff, and I was writing my paper, and I discovered that cannabis works with the body because we have an endocannabinoid system. And this is why this plant works, is because we literally have a system of receptors in our body that receive these compounds from the cannabis plant, and they turn on our own body's natural healing abilities. And the goal of the endocannabinoid system is, to promote homeostasis on a cellular level, so a stable internal environment. So I did this research paper. It was great, and I learned all I could. I watched videos. I was researching, people's studies and what they found with the cannabis plant, and I was like, wow, this is groundbreaking. Like, how do we not know about this, and how come this isn't just being shouted from like the mountaintops? You know what I mean?
So I just have two questions for you. So number
Totally.
one, did you get an A on the paper?
Yes, I did.
Figured.
Absolutely.
And number two, do you think, or maybe in your research, have you found that actually the cannabis plant has been used maybe by Native Americans or, centuries and centuries ago, that it's like, what's the big deal? We've been using this for so long that,
Oh,
they knew the healing effects of the plant.
100%. First 2 pages of like, we've used this plant for thousands and thousands of years, dating back to ancient Chinese and ancient Egyptian culture. All the civilizations, thousands BC till now, have used it in some way, and it's traveled across the world because of that.
I find it really interesting, though, because even with that kind of background and how it has been used universally for so long, when it did come on the scene here, like in the United States, and everybody's like, yeah, it's, it's pot.
Right. Well, funny thing is that prior to like early 1900s, in the early 1900s, physicians in the US were using cannabis as medicines in pharmacies across the country. And then all of a sudden, it was a threat to certain industries. So they went through the whole vilification of the plant, the whole reefer madness era, the whole Marijuana Tax Act of like 1937, and then finally with the Controlled Substance Act of 1970, when they scheduled it as a Schedule 1 with no medicinal use, even though it was priorly used thousands of years and in the US for decades before that. So it's hilarious to me. And that's where I get a huge part of my passion, is because it just makes no sense. Why are we doing this to ourselves? It just is like, we know that it does certain things for us. We know it helps humans, feel better in one way or another. And then we just demonize it as some
Mm.
kind of gateway drug that's, you're going to be stupid if you use it or whatever. So that's where a huge part of my passion is, because, it's a real medicine, it's nature. Even though there's been tons and tons of research on it, there's so much more to be done.
Okay, so I want to get geeky. If you can elaborate a little bit more about the endocannabinoid system. And I also would like for you to elaborate about how your products help decrease and control inflammation in the body, and just neurologically, how it impacts us on our nervous system. So take it and run.
I can't claim anything, of course, because the FDA loves all that stuff. But
Right.
I will, speak on my knowledge and my research. The endocannabinoid system, first steps of discovery were in 1960 in Israel. It's Dr. Raphael Meshulam and Dr. It's like Guyoni as well. So they got the cannabis plant. They isolated the compounds in the 60s. They isolated THC. They isolated CBD. They isolated other cannabinoids. But they didn't know how it worked. They knew that it got people high or stoned, THC specifically,
Mm-hmm.
but they didn't know how it worked. So fast forward to like 1988, team of researchers in St. Louis University that THC activated these receptors in the brain of a rat. And that is what became known as CB1, or cannabinoid receptor 1. And that's what people associate with the high of the THC. It's mainly found in our brain, but it's still found across our bodies as well. But CB2 is more prevalent across our bodies and has a little bit different reaction. It has its own anti-inflammatory properties as well. So that is kind of the basis of the knowledge. They've started researching and finding discovery after discovery, and then they found that there's endogenous cannabinoids. So our body makes these compounds itself. It's also what runner's high is associated from. It's our own natural body system reacting to whatever it is. And that's the beauty of this system, is that when people start to realize that it's not just from the cannabis plant, it's from our own diets and exercise and everything to do with our lifestyles that affects how our systems react, then we can get a much better understanding and a much easier way forward for people to, be like, oh, this isn't that crazy. It's really just our own body's natural system. So cannabis products or cannabinoid-based products work in the fact that they have these phytochemicals, THC and CBD, that are similar, very similar molecularly to anandamide and 2-AG. So they fit into these receptors or work on these receptors in the same way, and they turn them on to signal, hey, there's some inflammation in this area. We need to address that and bring it back to equilibrium. We need to bring it back to homeostasis. So that is why the products work the way they do. And our skin has receptors, our bones have receptors, our organs have receptors, our brain has receptors, central nervous, it's everywhere. So that's why these products work. That's why I've made, CBD products, and I've seen them work in my own eyes with people right in front of me, giving them, hey, here's a sample, take this and, put it on and walk around and tell me what you think. I love doing that. It was my favorite part of like the Dillon Farmers Market when we could actually give out samples, because this year was, different, of course.
Yeah.
But that was my favorite part, just seeing it in real time. People like, wow, this actually is doing something. I can't believe it. I'm like, yeah.
So can I give a little testimonial here, or my own personal experience? Because when I met you, my husband, his knees were so shot. I mean, they're so bad, severe osteoarthritis. But he was really having a hard time the day that we met you, and you said, "Here, have just rub this pain cream on one knee, not both of them, so you can make a comparison." And you said, "Just rub it on your knee." And I'm still kind of like, rolling my eyes, and
Yeah.
walk around a little bit and see. We didn't get to the end of the farmer's market before he turned and he looked at me and said, "I can't believe it. I have no pain."
Yeah. I love it. That's the stuff that lights my fire. Like every time I hear it, every time it just makes me smile so much hearing that and seeing it. And like it's happened, I'm telling you, like 60 to 70% of the time when I did that and passed out samples and told them to, try it right now, they would come back and be like, wow, I can't even believe this. I don't know if it's my brain messing with me or if I really feel something. And I'm like, I think you're really feeling something, because everyone keeps telling me this stuff.
Well, and it's really interesting because the skin is it's like so absorbent.
Yep,
And you think that when you put something on your skin, it's not really going to make that much of a difference. But the skin is an organ like everything else,
Yeah.
and it's the largest organ in the human body.
Exactly. It is. And when you have a product like, the 18 Muscle Rub that has organic coconut oil, organic shea butter, organic beeswax, essential oils, these are like essential fatty acid filled products, vitamin filled products, nutrients all over that. Your skin is like, this is skin food. Your skin is going to eat it up to function at its highest level. And there's also cannabinoid receptors in your skin that, the CBD and the other phytocannabinoids are hitting and turning on as well, signaling, hey, let's reduce inflammation here. So that's, the beauty of the products. That's why they work. There's something to be said about the ingredients and stuff. Some people go and try and put so many ingredients and so many things in it. It's too much. The skin wants to have, simple food. It's not like a 15-course meal. They want, certain vitamins and nutrients to work effectively. And when you start putting a bunch of different things and a bunch of other like petrochemical products, then it's like, we don't know about this. Like, So that's why I really wanted to keep a natural product that's, as close to nature as I can. No petrochemicals, no preservatives, just nature at its finest.
And it smells good. It does not have like a medicinal or an offensive type of odor. It actually really smells good, and it does feel really good on your skin. It just kind of, instead of using moisturizer, sometimes I'll just massage my feet with a little bit of it, and it just it's like I can feel my feet doing the happy dance.
Yeah.
After 40 years of ballet, they're not happy all the time. So yeah, it's just a wonderful product. So that is your topical product, or one of your topical products, but you've got quite a few others. So just tell us a few other of your products, and then I'd like to hear a little bit more about the tincture.
Totally. So yeah, topical wise, we have the Achy Muscle Rub. That's the flagship, pain salve that is, far and away like the most popular product that I make topically. I also have a massage oil, which is tailored same smell profile as the Aching Muscle Rub, because you're right, yeah, a lot of people do love the smell of that. The essential oil profiles are really great for the products and people really love them. So we have the massage oil, we have a whipped body butter we call the Calming Moisture Rub, which is just a moisturizer on steroids. It's for overall skin health. It's got jasmine, vanilla, roman chamomile as the scent
Ooh.
profile, so it's a lot more floral. It's really calming. Soothing lip balm, which is like a peppermint honey hemp, is what I call it. It's really great chapstick. Same concepts behind all this. Simplicity is the best. That's nature is at its finest. Most people tell me the reason they get new chapsticks is because they lose their chapsticks because it lasts so long.
Uh-huh.
Because a little goes a long way with really natural, great ingredient products.
That's actually what happened to me, because with my last order, you gifted me a tube of the chapstick, and it was like, oh, I love this lip balm, it's great. And then all of a sudden it's like, where is it? Because I always put it on the same spot. And one of my dogs is a real lip or chapstick hog, and he goes through my husband's pockets and steals his chapstick. I thought, did he steal it? So I keep looking to see if he hid it under the bed, which is what he does when he gets a stash of something he thinks is his.
That's awesome. Yep, I just proved the point right there.
There you go.
And then so now I do have a tincture line as well. So that's more for the ingestible, so you can have like a general CBD distribution throughout your body that goes through, your sublingual glands, your mucous membranes in your mouth, and then you swallow it, and the rest goes through, your gastrointestinal, through your stomach, all that, and gets absorbed and distributed around the body, which I use for and I can only say certain things about this stuff. So I use it to support my normal state of health and help me with, the stresses of the day. It really helps me keep, a clear head and deal with the stress and, anxiety of this, modern world. It's very stressful, very, people have a lot of anxiety with a lot of things. And it's because a lot of people are deficient in endocannabinoids or cannabinoids in general. I choose to feed my endocannabinoid system to keep, my body at, optimal levels, and so I can react with the right mindset and the right, positive mindset instead of being anxious or, stressed out about something. I want to look at it with a clear head, and that's why I created those products. And it's one of the most popular product types on the market right now by far, because it's the most effective way to take CBD right now. Besides inhalation is really effective to get cannabinoids into your body, because they're lipophilic molecules, which means they like to absorb into fats and lipids, stuff like that, versus being hydrophilic, which is water loving molecules. So it's interesting to learn about this stuff and learn more and more about how to make more of these products more effective.
So what you said about the lipid philic.
Yeah.
So if it is lipophilic, I would imagine that it would stay in the body a little bit longer.
It
because
does.
It's being absorbed by the fat molecules rather than the water molecules.
Absolutely. That's why people still can get in trouble for THC in their system 30 days later when other certain drugs go through your system in 24, 48 hours and they're gone. And the best way to take tinctures and cannabinoid products in general, if you're ingesting them, is to take them after a meal so it can absorb into the fats and be more bioavailable for your body. So that's just another tip and trick for getting the most out of your products.
One other thing I wanted to mention, because when you said it, it was like a light bulb went off in my head when you're talking about how stressed everybody is. And of course, with, this past year being as crazy as it's been and continues to be, that we're living in a world or in an environment that really is artificial. There's nothing natural about it. And especially because we had been locked inside so much and on our computers 24/7, everything that goes on, we're just constantly bombarded. And that is not the natural way of living. And that's not what our body and our soul really craves.
Right. Totally. That's a huge part of my distaste for some of the reactions to this whole, COVID thing is I totally agree, it's a big deal. We should definitely not take it lightly, but where's the people saying, change your diet, eat healthier, take some supplements, boost your immune system, go outside, get sunlight, vitamin D, you know what I mean? These are things that we've done forever, for as long as humans have been around, to feel better, and to boost our immune systems.
Rather than lock ourselves inside in that artificial environment with the air just being recirculated, inhaled and exhaled over and over. And yeah, it just makes no sense to me, but what do I know?
Right. What are we? We're just
Yeah,
some
exactly.
naturopaths over here.
Yeah. Oh gosh. Okay. So the other thing, like the THC, which is a lipophilic molecule, and that's why, if you do imbibe marijuana, it's in your system for like 30 days. So with your products, with the tincture, how much THC is in it?
So I have two lines of the tincture. I have a complete THC-free line, so it's made with CBD isolate, which is exactly that. It's literally pure cannabidiol, which is CBD, 99.9% pure,
Hmm.
and that's all it is. And then there's the full spectrum options, which have 0.3% or less of THC. So all of my like the 1,000 milligram tincture has 0.15% THC, which turns out to be, 20 milligrams for a whole bottle.
Hmm.
So it's fractions of a fraction for each drop or each, drop or full.
Hmm.
So it doesn't get people intoxicated, if you will, but it is there. So
Hmm.
there is a chance for it to get stuck into your fat cells and stuff like that. So I recommend for everybody that has any reason to be drug tested, do your research. Don't just hop onto it. Talk to your, doctor, physician about it, because they're starting to realize and know a lot more about, CBD products and cannabis in general. But don't just do something because you heard about it and it's good. I don't want to be that person either. Like,
Hmm.
you gotta do what is best for you. And if that means keep your job by means.
Right. And everybody is different.
Totally. Everyone's different. Every position is different. So I understand, and I don't want to get anybody in or put anyone in a position that, jeopardizes something in their life. That's not my intent ever with this stuff. So I want to be as transparent as I can. And now what I know and have researched and studies have come out and things that you can change cannabinoids into other cannabinoids. CBD can be transferred into THC under the presence of strong acids, but it can give you a false positive. So I would always say to anybody, if any idea that they're going to get, drug tested, don't do it. Just don't do it until policy changes or whatever. I just want to be open and honest with everybody, because I thought that same way. But people just want to sell products and they want to tell people, hey, go for it. It's just CBD. It's just this and this. And I'm like, you got to be a little bit more careful about it. You got to do your research. You got to know what the risks are.
Full disclosure.
Full disclosure. I just want to be real about it. That's my intent.
So I have one more question for you. Do you make your own products? I mean, do you have a secret laboratory somewhere where you're cooking up and mixing up your own product line? Or, do you have somebody that you use? How do you go about that?
Yeah, so I started off, I made all my own products. They're all my own formulations. I made them for the first 2.5 years of my journey. And I started in the house, and then we moved to an office, started doing it there. And that's where, it came to life, and I got to tinker around with the formulas and see how it goes. And I took some organic skincare formulator classes and stuff like that. But as time has moved on, the need to be producing it in a CGMP environment is arising because of all the rules. The FDA is getting into it right now. The USDA is getting into it. So for this short period of time, I'm transferring my manufacturing to my CBD supplier that I've had a great relationship for 2-3 years now.
Mm-hmm.
And they have a CGMP, USDA organic grow, CGMP compliant, US Hemp Authority certified facility. So that's where I've moved the manufacturing until I can get back and get my own place. So the whole reason I moved to Michigan is to get into a facility over here, but until I can get my facility and get it all approved, it's like a 2-3 year process to get CGMP approval and stuff. It's so inclusive. I'm reading all the books right now about getting into dietary supplements and cosmetic manufacturing for CGMP, and I'm working on it daily, but it's like everything I'm doing is like just a little at a time, chipping away a little bit at a time. So I will get there 100%. I love the manufacturing of it, but for the time being, I want to be, on the up and up with everything. So, and I want to do this for as long as I can. So that's where
Well,
I'm at right now.
well, let me ask you this. If somebody wanted to buy your products, because you have a website, they can buy them online.
Yes,
And
absolutely.
are there any, like for some states who, there are some states who don't approve of CBD or they're, right?
There's one, or no, there's actually four. Idaho is the #1 worst place in the country to have cannabis. They made CBD illegal. North Dakota doesn't allow like edible sales. I think North Carolina doesn't allow edible sales of CBD. There's certain like nuances here and there
Mm-hmm.
that certain states aren't about it. But yeah, as far as shipping, it's like 49 states
Mm-hmm.
right
Okay.
now,
So
minus
if
Idaho.
so, if somebody is going to place an order, know what your state restrictions are, but basically it's Idaho.
Yep, pretty much. Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
So it's all changing, but yeah, it's weird how some are going forward and some are going backwards. But it's wild that 40, I think it's 47 states now are either completely legal, adult use legal, or medical, have some kind of medical
Yeah.
program. So it's crazy in the last decade how much movement and how much progress we've made in getting cannabis to the mainstream and making it. But the people want it. Majority of people are support that
Mm-hmm.
cannabis should be legalized for at least medicinal use and adult use as well. So yeah.
Well, it's just the irony. I had to laugh about Idaho because when I think Idaho, I think potato, and it's like potato. I think isn't that what they make vodka out of? Is it?
Totally. Yep.
So
I think they
anyhow.
can do it on other things as well, but yeah, I believe potato is one of them for sure.
Mm-hmm. That's kind of what I thought. There was that Eastern European background coming out in me. Well, how can people find you?
You guys can find me online. B&BBotanicals.com is my website. I'm on Facebook as B&B Botanicals, Instagram as @B&B Botanicals. I just started a YouTube channel like a couple weeks ago because with the whole in-person event thing going on, it's been a real struggle this year to get in front of people. So I'm trying to transition to a little bit more of an online presence. And I love making content too. I just really do. I think I, have a knack for it here and there, and I can't wait to produce and share more of it because I'm working on a lot of stuff right now for the future to release, and I just can't wait. I love it, but I really do love getting in front of people. I think it works so much better, so much more organic, so much more personal. I miss it for sure.
Well, we are social beings. And it's that human interaction that I think is so important. That's another thing with COVID that, we didn't have that kind of human contact that I think really boosts our immune system too, along with the
I
good food, exercise, and all that kind of stuff.
I totally agree. I feel that's a big part of people's like, grinding with this stuff because they miss everybody that they know, they just, everyone's kind of sheltered right now and not, getting the normal face-to-face interaction that we just love. You don't realize until it's not there how much of a part of your life that really is.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
So is there anything else you would like to leave us with? Any advice to the listeners?
Let's see. I would say there's a lot of different products on the market, and you want to find some that have third-party testing that you can contact these companies. That it's not just some random website. It's you want to search for certain things that you want to find in a business that you can trust. So
Mm-hmm.
that would be like my advice for like CBD products. That's what I strive to be for my customers, and I want to be as transparent as possible and be aware of all the claims that people are making. Like, we know it does some stuff, yes, but like we can't, as a consumer product, we can't say that. Like, nobody can really say that. So be careful because that's what's going to get people in trouble. That's what's getting the industry under a microscope from the FDA, is because people are saying all this stuff that may or may not be true. I can't like just come out and say this is going to do X, Y, and Z because that's just a marketing tactic. But I can't do that. So I reserve myself a little bit more so I can be in it for the long run and be a part of the truth in the industry that we need, other than just it's consumer good product stuff,
It's called integrity, and you've got it.
Yeah, thanks. I appreciate that.
Bottom line is then don't buy your CBD products out of the back of a van in a gas station.
Yeah, pretty much. I feel like the sky's the limit. There's so much potential, and I can't wait to, find more and experience more and share more with the world as it goes on. So,
well, I am so happy that I had the opportunity to meet you and that I had the opportunity to try your products, which I absolutely love. And I am so happy that you took the time to come on the show. So thanks a lot for being here, Alberto. You really cleared up a lot of stuff, I think, for a lot of people.
awesome. Thank you so much for having me here. It's been awesome.
So everybody, thank you so much for listening, and make sure you check out B&B Botanicals. Go to Alberto's website and check out, well, I really want to check out his YouTube channel. That's first thing on my list I'm going to do this afternoon. And so remember to do your research and keep an open mind. There are so many things out there that can really help us stay healthy and safe and live the life that we absolutely deserve to live. And that is the way of the FemiNinja. And that's a wrap on another episode of the FemiNinja Project. Thank you so much for listening. And remember, be safe, be strong, and until next time, bye now.